Welcome to the Win-Win Evangelism podcast. I'm Tina Waldrom from Evangelism in Australia. I love helping you and your church feel confident and inspired to share Jesus consistently. Before today's topic, what happens when you actually start talking about Jesus? I want to let you know about our free download that will help you answer the hard questions that people have about faith. And you can download that for free on our website, evangelisminaustralia.com. Well, most Christians believe the gospel is the best news in the world, yet many of us find it difficult to talk about it. Why is that? And what can we learn from people who seem to do it very naturally? Today, we're going to explore this topic with two people who are great friends and have spent years helping others encounter Jesus in very different ways. My first guest is Julianne Laird from City to City, Australia. And Julianne has invested her life in student ministry, leadership development, and helping churches think about effective evangelism. She has a great passion for seeing the gospel take root in cities and towns and for equipping Christians to live as everyday missionaries. My second guest today is Ben Price, and Ben's a well-known public figure here in Australia. He's a comedian, speaker, and evangelist, and is known for engaging people in conversations about faith in public spaces. So whether it's through humour, storytelling, or street conversations, Ben has spent countless hours helping people explore the claims of Jesus. What's interesting is that while their ministries look very, very different, they're both driven by the same conviction that Jesus is too good to keep to ourselves. So welcome today, Julianne and Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Great to have you guys along, and I'm just praying it doesn't get too funny, particularly with you on the show, Ben.
And I'm a cheap laugh as well, so I laugh at anything.
Yeah, good audience.
I've got to contain myself here today. Julianne, let me ask you a question. Take us back really to your own journey of faith. In a nutshell, how did you come to know Jesus?
Yeah, I became a Christian. Well, I grew up in a Christian home, and I became a Christian when I was about 8. And yeah, I didn't really waver too much, interestingly. I just knew Jesus was real. This was how you go about living your life, and just went on from there, but became quite convicted about 19 to really give all of my life and potentially do ministry for the rest of my life. So, yeah, it was pretty early years, really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a big shift at 18 or 19. Well, what about you, Ben? I mean, most of us know you as a comedian, very, very funny comedian. How did you actually meet Jesus?
Well, I mean, similar story. I was a little kid one day, born at a very young age. And when I don't remember when people have that day where I came to Christ, but I just grew up with that. And it wasn't until my late 20s, early 30s, even somewhere around that season that I really came to the Lord, because I'd been lukewarm for a while. And it was like, all right, I'm all in now. He's always been there, but there was this greater, all right, no turning back moment, and haven't looked back since.
So interesting, because my journey is the absolute complete opposite. And so it's exciting to talk to two people that are evangelists that have grown up in the church, so to speak, which is very exciting. You know, thousands of Christians out there believe in Jesus, but not everyone feels compelled to talk about him. What keeps you guys personally motivated?
Probably for me, it was, I grew up in a home where we used to count how long it took before Mum spoke about Jesus if we'd brought a friend over, if they were Christian or not Christian, and we'd usually be about under 2 minutes. So I sort of grew up with that. But also I had a couple of friends, one returned to the Lord and another became a Christian, and their lives were just so transformed. And I was really shocked at year 11 going, wow, Jesus is really powerful. And gosh, their lives have been changed so much because of that. And Well, this would be so great if everyone sort of came to know Jesus in the same way. So, yeah, I was quite shocked by that.
Yeah. It's so interesting because, you know, you share that story of your mum's background and then that conversion and the call of God, and then you doing this for a lifetime. I find that interesting to see how God kind of is working in people's lives and the backgrounds that inform and then that calling. What about you, Ben? What keeps you motivated?
Oh, look, I just think we're talking about the pinnacle of what our faith is that the cross and what he's done for us. We get to say this over and over again, and we don't get sick of it. Today I've just been out sharing in Greensboro in Melbourne, where I'm sharing it. I'm feeling like this is so good, and telling someone, but also to see it on their face where they start to, everybody knows Jesus died on the cross. It's no surprise, but when they go, now I see why, because I don't deserve this, and yet he loves me so much. And seeing that look where people go, I get it. It's priceless. No pun intended there, but it is awesome, and that motivates me. And just I want to share this. I can't contain it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you work on the streets. You actually have a ministry. What's the name of that ministry?
Yeah, I work on the streets, and which sounds crazy. we want to stay on the streets, and it's called Bought with a Price. So it's a play on my name, which is really fun. If you know Ray Comfort, from Living Waters, he helped me. Like I said I want to write a book, and he goes, yeah, call it Bought with a Price. So I went, oh, that's perfect. And Bought with a Price. It's what we are. We're not our own. We're bought with a price. And it started out where I would go and share in my local area, about 10 minutes from where I live in near Dandenong Station, with a friend of mine, and we went for years and years. And then after COVID, we started to get people join us, and we'd pray and pray and pray for more harvesters. And we have 16 teams now. So we have all around Melbourne. We have a team in Hobart. We have a team in Gold Coast and Sydney, and it's expanding, and so all because we just keep praying and praying, and God keeps sending harvesters, which is amazing. God actually answers that prayer, but all glory to him. Yeah, and it's good fun to talk to people. It's not something that people need to be worried about. They think, oh no, but it's we come away with joy. It's incredible.
What surprises you most about talking to people on the street?
Oh, everything. It's like you get the good, the bad, the ugly. You get sometimes sworn at and yelled at, and that's just the people in our team. Can you believe it? But no, it's what surprises me is that sometimes people are just don't expect that. You sometimes judge a book by its cover, and sometimes you go, man, that person was so hungry and open to hear. And I just came along at that right time, and they needed, or some people, just surprise you with, some people are so angry, and but I always just would love to sit down with people and just say, I just need to ask you something, and but nothing surprises me completely because I've seen it all. I've seen, people yell at us, and I've seen people just be in tears, and it's always an adventure. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Julianne, let's talk about cities and towns. What trends are you seeing in our Australian cities and towns regarding spirituality and openness to faith?
Yeah, we're having a bit of a think about this at the moment in terms of, is there some real changes around Australia? There are definite pockets, I would say, definite pockets of people where there's lots of people coming to faith. You definitely hear some churches that they're just seeing more and more people. And Easter, there was lots more people. I try and use the language around it. It's just warmer. People are warmer towards faith. So, like we definitely went through the angry atheist years, and, people are really sucked into that atheism thinking. But it was hard to refute, anyway. And it takes a while to untangle some of that stuff. So I would say, people are definitely warmer but not everyone. Some people are still just completely closed. But I think, there's definitely a shift in terms of people's warmness to stuff.
What would that word warmer look like on the street, Ben, for you? Like if we're saying, people are coming across a bit warmer, what does it practically look like, or what does it feel like?
It's hard to say warmer in Melbourne, isn't it? Because today was pretty cold and I'm rugged up. But generally speaking, it's exactly right, Julianne, that not everyone, but there is a more openness because people are seeing things in the world and going, all right, we want answers. And there is something. There are a lot of people searching, and that's a good thing. We can direct them too. But there are still a lot of people that was it C.S. Lewis that said, an atheist wants to find a church as much as a bank robber wants to find a police station. It's like that for a lot of people that just still love doing their own thing. But I do think even among the really hard places we go into, there are those you find, it's like fishers of men, where we are finding, there is 4 or 5 conversations that you'll have. You might get rejected by a lot of people, but there are those people that are hungry, and God brings those along, which is so exciting.
This episode is brought to you by the Share Jesus membership from Evangelism in Australia. Whether you're an individual wanting to grow in sharing your faith, or a pastor wanting to build a culture of evangelism in your church, there's a membership designed for you. Best of all, your first month is completely free, so you can check it out and trial it to see if it's the right fit for you and your church. Go to sharejesus.com.au for all the information. What does it feel like when you're talking to a person that's more warm or open?
Yeah, so I have a friend at the moment who's just grown more and more warmer towards faith, and it's delightful because it just means you can talk more freely basically about your own faith, and they're not as opposed, like they're warmer towards it. And so I just find it so much better when people are warm. And I sort of use the word sort of a bit more respectful as well about my own faith and being a person of, a Jesus follower. Whereas there definitely was a real disrespectful phase. It's amazing when somebody's warm. Yeah. You can just be yourself more.
Tell me how you work this out on the streets, Ben. But if I feel like, this person's not warm at all. It's like I'm talking to a force field here. There's something there. I might as well be, I'm bashing my head against a brick wall. Generally, I feel like, okay, I'm just going to back off this. So that's what I feel that I should do. Like, should I be doing that, Ben, or should I just keep? What do you do on the street?
There's a time to, answer a fool in their folly, and a time not to answer a fool. And we're just discerning. Some people are just so hardened of heart. I don't want to push. I always say be persistent, but not pushy. But sometimes you just say, hey, you have a great day. And sometimes that'll soften their heart. So next time we see them, talking about angry atheists, I had one. We go to Springvale in Melbourne every Monday. And I was sharing with this guy, and he said, no, it's all just, then he probably let go of a few expletives. And I say, how do you know? Because I want to put him on the spot. How do you know? How do you know there's no heaven? And he goes, well, there's all these wars and stuff and all this. And I said, well, if there's no God, why does that matter? And I really got him to think, and I started to challenge him and get him to have that paradigm shift in his mind, because I shared that, you're looking at something, but you don't know all the facts around it. So I just showed him in a couple of examples and illustrations. And then I said, so if there was a God, and then he ended up telling me his name, and because he didn't want to at first. And then he softened and he said, okay, I'll have a listen. And that's great. Doesn't always happen like that, but I like to be able to just get them to shift. And most people I say desperately need Jesus, but they're not ready because they're not ready to hear what we've got to say. So we're harvesters. We've got to harvest and plant seeds of the gospel, and we're going to do that. I'm not going to just say Jesus died on the cross for your sins and rose again. I need to soften that heart up first, and so I might ask them some questions, but then I'll I'll compare their life to the standard of God and say, hey, we're not good. And that pride is softened and they realize, oh, yeah, I'm not a good person. I'm a sinner. I deserve judgment. I deserve hell. And then I can just see that person soften a lot. And it just makes it a lot easier to share the good news once they realize, oh, I need a savior.
It's because it's such a big conversation to have with people, isn't it? And as Aussies, you know that you want to try and keep it conversationally. You don't want to start getting up in their face. Sometimes I found myself using the words, I just knew that God wouldn't be cheering me on in these areas of my life. And so I say to people, do you think you've got anything in your own life that you think, just imagine if God was real, would there be stuff that he wouldn't be cheering you on about?
Yeah.
And, just conversationally, I'm not trying to make them feel terrible, but just raising the fact that, there's that probably some stuff that's, God's not happy about. Well, have you got any little tools like that, Julianne? Like what do you find yourself saying to people that don't know Jesus?
Well, recently I was doing an Uber share with a young guy. It was actually midnight at night, and this young guy hopped in, and there was a Muslim Uber driver, I would say, and I just said, have you done Uber before? He was going, no. And I said, no, I've done it before, but no one's ever come in. So this is a real surprise. And I said, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm doing a PhD at Laird Uni. And he goes, what do you do? And I said, well, so this is my line in, is I actually try and help Christians talk about their faith, because most Christians are pretty afraid of that. I said to him, so if you're from England, are you noticing people are more open to faith in England? Because there seems to be quite a revival happening. And he goes, nah. And I'm just going, where do I go with this? And so then I went, what about friends? Are they more open to faith? And he goes, no. Anyway, we sat there for a tiny bit of awkward conversation. I just didn't know where to go next. Anyway, then he goes, and I sort of did let it go because I was just praying to God, where do I go with this? He goes, well, funnily, I've just been up in Sydney with my relatives, and they're all Christians, and I've spent them all weekend arguing with them. And in my mind, I'm going, gee, I wonder what they prayed when you left some random woman to hop in the Uber with you. And so then I said, well, what's your strongest argument then? Anyway, he goes, if you grow up in an atheist family, of course you're going to be atheist. And if you grow up in a Muslim family, of course you're going to be Muslim. And I said, that's not a very strong argument. God's way bigger than that. And I said, God's appearing to all these Muslims in dreams, and they're coming to faith. And he sort of just stopped in his tracks. It was just like, And then I said, okay, what's your second biggest argument then? Because that wasn't a good one. Anyway, I didn't mean to put him down, but I could see he was trying to put it in a really smart way in terms of, I've got all the answers. And I just went, I've heard all of these before. This is nothing new under the sun. But interestingly, by the end, he had downloaded John Dixon's Undeceptions podcast. And I just went, if you're smart and think about things, you really need to really think this through, because you're actually thinking fairly shallowly about this. And anyway, when he left, then the Muslim driver, I'm going, oh man, I hope he was okay with me saying that about the Muslims. So I sort of tried to change topic, and he goes, now, about what you were talking about, if God wants that person to listen to that podcast, then he will. And I went, yeah, I agree with that. Anyway, I said, do you have a faith? And he goes, yeah, I'm a Muslim. And I said, do you know much about Jesus? And he goes, well, he's a prophet and he's in the Bible. And I said, yeah, there's not much about Jesus in the Quran though. Would you be interested in finding out more about Jesus? And he goes, I should find out more about him. And I said, well, if you're interested, I can download the Bible app for you. Anyway, he goes, all right. So I feel like there's sort of no one way. This is what I'm trying to say. There's two completely different scenarios. There's sort of not one way, but you can have some hints. I always ask people, do you have any sort of faith? And so if they say yes, then you go with that. If they say no, then you go with that. Why not? Why don't you have any faith? Has something happened to stop you? So yeah, Ben would have great lines in. So you have lines in, but you just have no idea where the conversation's going to go.
Right. And the challenge is to actually, I think, as a Christian, is to have a line in, be confident and get some courage to have a line in, to raise something, because you're right, Julianne, you don't know where that's going to go. Both of you are coming to the Ideas Convention in Victoria in August. I'm going to be speaking, which is going to be wonderful. I'm just wondering what voice or what personality would do a promo, for the Ideas Convention. I'm thinking, Ben, surely you've got something up your sleeve there.
Oh, yeah. Whether we love him or hate him, I'm sure Donald Trump has a lot of ideas. I got a lot of ideas. I got so many ideas. Great ideas, by the way. They're fantastic ideas. Nobody has ideas like me. In fact, if you could probably take a picture, you'd see one of those light bulbs above my head. That's probably what protected me when I got shot. Nobody dodges a bullet like me, believe me, and God protected me. The Secret Service kept saying Donald Duck, which was very confusing. But I've got a lot of ideas. Probably King Charles would love to be there as well. I've got loads of ideas. I don't know if they're good ideas, but I'll be there, and it's wonderful. These people are terrific people, and I think you should go.
Okay, my cheeks are really sore now. Oh gosh, I just wonder, who even gets a gift like this on planet Earth to do this
so
stuff?
Good, Ben. So good.
Yeah.
It's a proof that God does have a sense of humour.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He definitely has a sense of humour. Yeah, 100%.
All right, let me ask you both another question. If every Christian listening could make one change in the way they approach sharing their faith, what would you tell them?
Well, partly it's just being interested. Be interested in what other people think and believe, and don't give up with that. So just, and my style is more friendship evangelism. So I don't do as much random as Ben does, but all the randos that you meet. But yeah, if it's around friendship, it's really just being really interested and just seeing opportunities. You just keep going with it and keep sharing your own faith and life with them.
It's showing that interest is such a key, though, because the alternative to that, Julianne, is that they feel like they're a target. They feel like they're having a one-way conversation, and that it's not truly, you're not really showing interest in them. What about you, Ben? What would you say to people?
Yeah, I think, for me, a game changer, like I mentioned earlier, was that before I preach the gospel, I preach the law, because, the law is a schoolmaster that leads us to Christ, that we might be justified by him. That's, as it says in Galatians. So that's what softens the heart, and I'd say do that. But the first thing I would say is, a lot of people go, yeah, I know that, but I can't do that. And it's like Gideon took first steps before he took on the Midianites. He destroyed the idols. He did it at night. It was like, oh, come on. But he made a step, and that's always say is just, get over that fear, knowing that the Great Commission says, go. We know that, but it also says, lo, I'm with you always. And so that knowing he's with us, and I'll just take that first step. Maybe it's just to say, here's a tract, or don't say that. Say, here, did you get one of these? And the more you do that, the more you'll learn. And so, yeah, don't learn to. It's just like riding a bike. Yeah, you'll fall off at first. I did that, and that was an exercise bike, so it takes a while.
So some great comments here today, and in the show notes I'm going to drop some links in there so that you can stay connected to Julianne and you can stay connected to Ben, and you might want to reach out to them and see how you can even be involved or receive some training or be involved on the streets or in the towns, the cities, whatever that is. But I'm looking forward to the Ideas Convention in August. I'll be there as well. That's going to be wonderful. And so, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing your experience with us. It's been absolutely wonderful.
No worries.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome.